Code is a 1-hour introduction to computer science for kids of all ages. Participating in the event allows kids to explore the world of programming, which is a valuable skill for anyone to have in our world today. On behalf of Women in Tech Maldives, thank you so much for volunteering to become a mentor. We've picked a few games that are easy to understand for the age group that you will be mentoring. You do not need to have a background in computer science, you will only need to guide your students through simple tasks where the games will provide instructions on what they're expected to do. On the day of the event, you will demo the first 3 stages of your game and then let your students take it from there. Please note that you must complete the game yourself so that if any of your students struggle with the level, you would be able to guide them. If you are unsure of how to complete a level, find an issue with the game, or have any other queries, please reach out to us. So let's begin with our tutorial. This hour of code activity is an introduction to web development, and your students will be taken through an interactive tutorial where they will learn HTML and CSS, and this can be a very useful skill to have no matter what career path your students choose. When you head to the link, you will be able to see a start button. That is where you can begin your interactive course, but you'll also see all of the content that is included that covers what HTML is, what CSS is, and how to use it to create a website. So we can go ahead and click on Start. You can guide your students by letting them know where all of the controls are. There are 13 lessons, and each of them have this theory portion here, and then we have a task. So your students can read all of the theory and then head to the task, and they can keep accessing the theory for the lesson at this left pane here, and then just click onto the task or the close in order to go back to their HTML document, which is in the middle section here, and then the rendering of their website is to the right here. And at the bottom you can see the goals. Each of these lessons have a certain amount of goals that they need to complete in order to complete the lesson, but if your students are stuck, they can also click on Show the Answer. That will show them how to solve the problem that exists. You can show your students how to complete lesson 1, 2, and 3, and then let them take it from there. The lessons are interactive and very easy to follow, and it has this instructor Muffin telling us how to create a website. And so the theory for the very first lesson is about what is HTML, and it states if you're going to make changes, they might as well be major changes so that the difference is as noticeable as possible. So first, let's remove this line and see what happens as a result. And the line that they want us to remove is this style sheet link here. And so it asks us to go to the task and remove the style sheet. So we're going to look for that, and as we can see, it's on line 7, and we just want to delete that line. And now we can see that we have passed the objective of that lesson and we're able to go forward. And what we see here is that once we actually remove that line, it has removed all of the design and only left the text on the page here. So if you actually press on Control or Command Z, you can see the difference better, where all of it was very well designed. There's colors and all of that, images, everything is there. And the minute you remove that line, all of that is gone, and this is the text that is left remaining with no design. So we'll go on to lesson number 2, and this time it's about HTML tags. So your students can read through all of the theory about this lesson, go to the task, and now this time the goal that we have is uncomment the code on the 6th line. To do this, delete the characters, and then we have all of that needs to be deleted, and admire the new design. So now we know that this is a commented line of HTML, which basically means a comment is anything that will not be rendered on the website itself. And in order to stop making it a comment and have this work as a line of HTML, we want to remove that section and this section at the end there. And now we see that the CSS styling has been applied to this web page, and we see the background image. And again, you can press on Command or Control Z to go back and see what it looked like before this was applied. And now that we have completed this lesson 2, we can go ahead and move on to lesson 3. And the progress of your lesson can be saved, so I would recommend that you ask your students to just log in with their Google account in order to register, because it's a very fast process. But if they don't want to register, they could also just click on continue course and sign up later. Although saving their progress means that they can come back to these lessons and continue them even past the hour of code activity, but for now I will click on continue course. So the third lesson is about tag nesting, and again they'll be able to read all of the theory that comes with how tags can be nested in order to create an item. So in this case, we're nesting a UL, which means unordered list. So basically it's like in a text document when you do a bulleted list that is unordered instead of a sequential list, which is for example a numbered list which goes 1 dot 2 dot and so forth. So an unordered list is a list such as a bulleted list where you just have the bullets and then you have the list items. You can go to the goals and see that we need to add a third paragraph with the text. I have been a full-time professional cat for more than 5 years now, so we can just copy that from there. And the paragraph that we need to add is here, and using the theory that is taught, we know that we need to add in paragraph text using a P and a /P to close that off. So now we've added that and we can see that this goal has been completed. And then it says add a 5th item list with the text how to scatter fur around your apartment to the section what will you learn. So again, we can copy that, and when we add the list this time we will add LI, close that, put in the new item, and then close that list tag with the /LI. And this will complete the third lesson, and then you can just let your students take it from there and complete all of the rest of the levels. However, you should complete the entire interactive tutorial yourself so that you'll be able to guide your students if they are stuck or if they are uncertain of exactly how to reach the goal. And at the very end of it, they will also have this very helpful summary of their introduction to HTML and CSS that has all of the information that has been covered. And hopefully by the end of this lesson, your students have a basic understanding of web development, and maybe this will help them see if they'd like to have a career in the field or even pursue this as a hobby. Once they have completed their theory of HTML and CSS, they can also go to a practice round, although the first 2 levels are locked unless your students have signed in using their Google account. So again, it would be a great idea for your students to register so that they can also access the practice area. And on top of that, once they're done with the HTML and CSS, they can move forward to the JavaScript lesson as well, which is a fun way to learn different ways in which you can modify things within your HTML web page. And after that, they can also do the Introduction to PHP course as well. And this is a really great way to just learn how web development works as a beginner. And we hope that all of your students have a great time learning this Introduction to Web Development course. And it will be also a great idea to encourage your students to play around with the HTML editor and then show the rest of the class the fun things that they've done with it as well. For this activity, your students will not be given an auto-generated certificate. So in order to generate a batch of certificates for the class, please head to studio.code.org/certificate/batch and then type the names of your students on separate lines. Then click Generate Certificates. You can generate 30 at a time. Or else you can also let your students generate it themselves by going to studio.code.org/congrats. Students can personalize their certificate by putting in their name and clicking Submit. They can then save their certificate and share their accomplishment. At this point, if they have more time, they can go on to the next activity, or if this is the end of their session, you can ask them if they enjoyed it, what they liked best, and to share their creations with the rest of the class so that you can all take a look at the unique solutions developed by each student. Thanks again for taking time out to help students discover the magic of programming. This helps to broaden participation in the field of computer science. We hope you enjoyed the event as much as your students, and we hope to see you again next year.